Hi, this is Somi, and you're watching AFKinsider.com. My beginnings in music. Well, I would say they probably started with my mother, who loves to sing. I'm originally from East Africa, Uganda and Rwanda, so she's sort of a keeper of a lot of folk songs from that region, and she would share them with me as a child. Both of my parents really have a deep love for music, and so I think it's something that they just sort of offered to me and encouraged in me as they saw the interest. In terms of my beginnings as a professional singer, that really started when I moved to New York almost 10 years ago. I don't know that it actually influenced my career. Well, what I will say is, like, having those sort of opportunities living in Zambia as a child, whether it was living in Zambia or living in Illinois or living in Nigeria or living in Kenya, like all these different places that I've lived, I don't know that they specifically influenced the music, but they influenced my kind of worldview, right? And I'm thankful for that. You know, I'm thankful to have a huge appreciation for different cultures, different cultural and social experiences. There's not one particular genre. I think a lot of people often talk about me as a jazz vocalist. But I'm a songwriter first and foremost, which means I'm just interested in telling stories, however the stories compel me to tell them or inspire me to tell them. I'm influenced by jazz, I'm influenced by a lot of African music, I'm influenced by a lot of soul. I would say the concept of it was about creating this room, this salon, right, where I'm having conversations with myself, my heart, you know, and how I kind of moved and traversed through the city of Lagos and having conversations with the city itself and the people there. You know, it's really just about truth-telling and hopefully welcoming people into that room so they feel a sense of travel and they feel a sense of new African energy and hopefully feel the inspiration in each of those songs. Well, first of all, in the US, I mean, we've had this industry kind of established for several decades now at this point. I mean, you can go back to the 20s, so if you look at the legacy of music that's been happening, recorded music that's been happening out of the US, that already kind of sets it in a way apart from what's happening in Nigeria and Africa as a whole. But what I will say right now, it's such an exciting time on the African continent, the music industry there, in Nigeria in particular, because they've always been sort of a cultural giant, and the biggest sort of popular acts and all sorts of artistic voices are really coming out of Lagos specifically, which is hugely why I went to Nigeria. And the difference is really just about nascent, you know, emerging versus really established. But I think that we're really starting to be taken more seriously on both sides. And as an African, you always want to know that you always want to be a part of the conversation, right? So it's just wonderful to see people beginning beyond the diaspora, beyond the African continent audiences. It's wonderful to see people really taking an interest in the art and culture that's coming out of there, and not in really traditional kind of stereotypical ways. Obviously, we're in the digital age and we're in the globalization era, so we're just as impacted by that, but still being able to be ourselves and be clear about our own identity. So if I knew how tough it is to kind of be heard in Lagos, like by the time you deal with all of the infrastructural, all of the like technical issues, I mean, I went there like, oh, I'm gonna record an album in Africa and all these people, but like, there are a lot of technical challenges, there are a lot of, you know, it's about finding the right team of people who have the skill set. The most valuable business lesson I've learned over the course of my career has been to never entirely delegate all of your vision to somebody else. Like, always be clear about it and be willing to to fight for it, to move towards it. Because I think oftentimes you get, you know, artists are always kind of negotiating that space between art and business. And at times you just maybe feel tired and you're like, I just want to write songs, I just want to be a creative, but you actually need to have the business sense. I definitely believe that Nigerian artists and African artists as a whole are always looking for opportunities to collaborate with people in the US, with people internationally. I think that's also part of what's so exciting, is that knowing that those people are actually within reach. All of these African artists are really excited about having any opportunities to collaborate. But I think the most powerful thing is knowing that we actually have so much within ourselves, within our own communities, within our own industries, our own media channels, to really kind of help get that initial swell and lift that we might need. But I think it's always great to collaborate no matter where you're from.